It's all empty. It's all empty. So you just don't answer.
On the
Can
floor.
I just ask a question? Why are you not sticking by our leader?
Well, let me just,
Jerremy Corbyn?
yeah, let me just say, answer that question, and nearly that's why everybody's here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dave, other people know, I've never, in the period, the 7 months that since Jerremy Corbyn's been the leader of the Labour Party, I've never said a word of criticism of him publicly in all that time. You will not find any statement from the people who attend Labour Party meetings will know that you'll never say any statement from me. When people have asked me about whether I support him, my answer has always been the same. He's the elected leader of the Labour Party and he deserves the support to carry out the mandate that he was being given. That has been my position ever since he was elected Labour of the Labour Party last autumn. What happened last week, whether you agree with it or not, in the European referendum meant that the terms of politics and the Labour Party's role within politics is different now than it was before. It can't be the same because you know, we are now in a position where the process of withdrawing from the European Union is going to take place. And others have said, you know, and I agree with them, that even though I voted to remain, and several of us did, we can't go back on that. You know, if you have a referendum, people have spoken, you've got to live with the consequences of that. So that in itself changed everything. So I went to the Parliamentary Labour Party meeting on Monday night, having not said a word to anybody over the weekend at all, and I sat at the back. I didn't interrupt, and I deplore. There were some people who behaved badly, and people in this room know I don't accept that in meetings, and I deplore that. But Jerremy had no analysis of what the world looks like and how what the Labour Party placed within it after the vote last week in the referendum. And and by the way, I'm not blaming him. I'm not one of those who thinks it's his responsibility that the referendum was lost. I'm talking about where we stand now as a result of that vote and how we move forward as a party for that. Because as the opposition, we need to be in a position where we can influence the way the way in which we withdraw and what the terms of disengagement from Europe are. Let me just finish because I've only got a few more words to say.
To the floor, please, haven't
I went to that meeting and I was very disappointed. The following day,
Can you tell us why? Why you were disappointed?
I've just told you because he had no analysis of the political situation following the referendum.
Have you?
Well, I'm not the leader of the Labour Party. If you wanted me to spend another 10 minutes saying how we can deal with the next couple of years, I could do that. But I don't think there is the time to do so. Then the following day, there was a torrent of resignations from the front bench. And it's got worse. Some of the people that he appointed to replace the people who resigned off the front bench have now resigned. So we've got people who've been, the majority of the Parliamentary Labour Party are refusing to either serve in the shadow cabinet or take any shadow ministerial place. We are no longer in a position to function as the official opposition. The Scottish Nationalist Party have actually put in a request to the Speaker to say they should be considered as the opposition, the official opposition, because the Labour Party has no front bench.
George, she's not got so little time. Can we move on and
yeah. So that's the position. I've brought you up to date. And frankly, just let me finish it. The situation is now untenable. That's the point I'm making.
But George, we elected you to be the opposition. We didn't elect you to fight with yourselves. You were elected as an anti-Tory candidate. That's what we expect you to be. Now, hang on a minute. The rest of us who just have normal jobs, George, When we get to work, if things aren't perfect, you know what we have to do? We just carry on. Them two people over there, the PCSOs, they can't say, well, this isn't perfect, so I'm going home, because they won't get paid anymore. The rest of us, he was given a 60% mandate, near enough, from the members of the party. If it's not our party, George, whose is it? Is it yours? Is it an exclusive club?
Well, it's everybody.
Is it the New Bullingdon Club?
You can't have. We are a parliamentary democracy. The Labour Party is not a revolutionary or Leninist party.
No, I didn't say it was, George.
It is a,
We just elected you to be the opposition.
Keep it saying.
It is a party.
George, George, can I
Let me
just...
finish answering this gentleman first.
We're gonna
It's a
lose
party that
the time
believes
here,
in doing changing, social change and economic change through winning elections and taking control of the parliamentary system. We're not in a position to do that. That's the problem.
But you have to be the opposition.
Excuse
Let
me,
this chap pass.
Peter,
I'm very worried about democracy within this country because of what you're doing. Mandelson already set up websites to a firm for Angela Eagle even before she packed in.
Yep.
Also, all this is going on for one reason and one reason only, to protect Tony Blair.
no, it's
To protect him from the Chilcot inquiry.
no, it's
Now listen, when a regiment goes to war and 3/4 get killed, they replace them. Now if your regiment, that's the Labour Party, cannot pull together to win the battle, then you're no good as that regiment. And you get, let me finish, and you get disbanded. So if you can't do it, we can get people to replace you to do it. And this anti-democratic is not just the Labour Party. The Lib Dems are advertising. Thank you to the 8,000 people for the fight against Leave. Because you parliamentarians, you are going to ruin democracy in this country. Every regiment takes casualties, and if the ones who are left always disagree with the ones who come in, do your job, work together. It's a set-up, what you're doing. We know it's a set-up, and you're not getting away with it.
Well, let me just tell you, it isn't a set-up.
Mandelson done it 2
I've
days
just
before.
told you that up until Tuesday, I had not said
Not
a
you,
word.
George. Mandelson said.
Doesn't mean you never.
I'm sorry? Well, I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't know where it's going to go. I think,
Can we not just
I
jump
think
in
the
and
best-
answer one question?
I think the best way out of it, and it answers, it's the same answer as to Peter's question, is now to have a leadership contest, and Jeremy should be allowed to stand in it.
What happens when he wins? What happens when he wins again?
Well, I don't know. He would have to get enough nominations. In my view, he should get enough nominations.
He's already got. He's already got them.
He's in a better
And we
position.
should have a contest and test whether or not the party membership thinks he's the right person to
Can we try and get another couple of questions before we move
So
on?
that is
Who's next for the
democratic.
question?
You said before, I was like, how the parliamentary Labour Party works, but like, if Jeremy has his wins, which is nationalisation, why aren't you supporting him? Surely that's what Labour stands
It's
for.
not about policy.
No, but he should be the right man for Labour if that's what he stands for. Because that's what it's meant to be a working man's party, isn't it?
I
Do you know what I
don't,
mean?
I don't know at the moment. We've got an obligation as the second biggest party in the country in terms of our parliamentary representation. We've probably got the biggest membership of any party in the country. We've now got an obligation to deal with the situation we now find ourselves in as a country. I don't know, I still haven't heard from Jeremy how he proposes to deal with that.
Well, if he's
That's
going-
because you took all the limelight off him.
Well, if he's going off the job or not, what he stands for represents.
The day that Cameron stood down, these should have all been working together. But no, let's all make it work.
You know, look, somebody asked me that question earlier. I got elected in a by-election in 1986 in what was then called Dowsby Law. Between 1986 and 1992, we won virtually any by-election we stood in. In 1992, we had voted in the election. We then, in the period between 1990,
Yeah, the
The same applied if you go back
Yeah, it
years.
went centre and now it needs to go back again.
Yeah.
because the
Corbyn's
Tories
that
don't
wins
like it.
again
Well,
when he's
if you
elected.
go
Is he going to
backwards,
step down?
We,
At all?
every election, by-election, we held in 1983 and 1987. Most of them we won in places that you wouldn't have expected to win.
Okay, but this is the
And then
before.
in 1987 we got slaughtered in it. So by-elections are a snapshot of where something is at the time. Very often it's like, almost like a mini referendum on the government of the day. When it actually comes up to an election day and voting for a party, you've got to win votes in parts of the country and marginal seats where we will not win them.
We beat the
And
Tories.